Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oh my god, it's so lovely to have you back here. Excuse me shimmying and chair creaking. So I am here to talk about a fragrance that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. And I'm a little bit bitter about that actually. Today we'll be talking about Universal Oud by Zara. Zara exclusive. I think I got this around a couple of years ago, like 3 years ago. And unfortunately, as you can see, the dent is not denting at all. When I got this, like, I feel like this is definitely the first oud fragrance in my collection. I remember I put it on and I just fell in love. I have to spray it on. I fell in love with this fragrance. Oh my gosh, the earthiness, there's so much to talk about, but before we get there, let's just talk about the notes. Unfortunately, I don't have a big story about this. I just remember I wore it and I was so obsessed with the earthy notes. Like, I am so addicted to the smell of petrichor, and I felt like, oh my gosh, it just smells like wet sand and wet earth. And yeah, I kind of fell in love with it, and that was that. I remember I couldn't stop talking about this fragrance from the day I got it. Now let's talk about the notes. So in the opening, you have some pepper, and then you have some agarwood and some patchouli. Now I was really interested, and I still am, to hear about what this fragrance comes close to. Unfortunately, I always get really pissed off when it comes to Zara fragrances on Fragrantica, because a lot of people just put whatever they think. Like, I think this, like, some of these fragrances I see absolutely no correlation to, and I'm always really disappointed at the critical. But do you know what? I can't be. I know that's just being me. That's me just being a lot nosy and a lot, what do you call it when someone's like stuck up? Why did I? Yeah, because technically you know who's stuck up. But yeah, that's just me being stuck up, because most people who are wearing Zara fragrances or a fanatic, it's mostly because they're much on the cheaper end, and quite honestly, they're more accessible than niche fragrances and all these other fragrances that I'm kind of low-key expecting them to compare to. So it actually doesn't make sense. That's just my problem. Yeah, let's talk about it. So here they say it smells very close to Velvet and Poppy by Jo Malone. I am so sick of that fragrance being compared to every oud. Like, no. To me, that fragrance almost smells close to Oud Satin Mood, but not quite. But that's how sweet and like not oudy that fragrance is to me. And this fragrance is super oud. Like, there are definitely some notes that are missing from here. The first comparison is actually a Montal fragrance. Let's look at the notes, which I've never smelled before. It's called Black Oud. And this is supposed to have rose, some agarwood, some patchouli, some musk, some French labdanum, and some mandarin. And actually, I want to say I can smell definitely some rose. I can smell some rose and some musk. The mandarin and the labdanum, you know what, like, couldn't care less. But yeah, those four notes are definitely there. And so the rose and the musk was not talked about in the original. We only heard about pink pepper. And so I'm kind of inclined to say maybe they might be close together, but I've never smelled that fragrance, so I don't know. But yeah, so when it opens up, you can definitely smell a rose, but it's very much in the background, and this fragrance is a very dusty fragrance. It has this dusty texture to it, but the rose kind of smells like a pink rose, like a peony, like the kind of rose that you have in, I don't know if you've ever smelled Tanasuk or A La Rose by MFK, or Laventia Rose, like that kind of rose that's like super watery, super pink, not that strong. And even though they have rose and patchouli mixed together, normally it always gives off that like smell of that red rose or that red flower. Is it geranium? But it doesn't, that combination does not come off like that. It almost feels like the patchouli is paired with the oud rather than the patchouli and the rose being paired. I hope that's making sense. And so the first thing you smell when you smell this fragrance is a lot of pepper. The pepper is like really, really there to give it some texture, and I really feel like it's what gives it that dusty feel. And then you have, and it's black pepper, I believe. And then you have your oud, and the oud is like the clean oud, like the clean oud. And I definitely think the clean oud is added onto that with musk, and it gives this like it almost feels like soapy, like you've just gone on and bathed with like the most fancy soap in the fanciest place. And it definitely kind of gives off like a powder room because of the rose and because of the musk and the dustiness, if I'm making sense. But it's definitely heavy oud. It's definitely heavy oud, and that clean oud, to be specific. Now, you guys know I'm not crazy about musks. Yeah, I'm not crazy about them. But amazingly, I really feel like this fragrance would be so basic if it wasn't for the musk. It just smells so different, and it makes this a perfect summer fragrance. This is one of the best fragrances I've ever smelled from Zara. Now, Zara does some great fragrances, but this is one of the best. But it does have its downfalls, and we'll talk about that. But it's one of the best because it definitely smells so rich. Like, I mean, it smells so expensive. Like, I wouldn't doubt that this would smell like €300. Of course, maybe better blended and, you know, more natural ingredients. But like, they did budget very, very well. And it's actually very unique. It's not the kind of fragrance that I've smelled anywhere or a similar DNA. Now, let's say if you were in the Middle East, maybe, you know, this would be something you would know like the back of your hand. But here, I don't really know many fragrances that smell like that clean oud type of vibe and do it so well at such a steep budget. Now, I do have some complaints. My biggest complaint about this fragrance is that it's almost so specific that it's hard to wear all year round. I feel I can only really wear it during summertime because the musk is so strong that I feel like in winter, and the projection is actually really bad, and the performance is really bad. It's like 4 hours maybe. No, the projection is insane. Actually, the projection is crazy, but it only lasts 4 hours, like the fragrance. And so, because of that, like, it's so niche that you can't layer this fragrance with anything. That's why I've had it for so long, because it's so niche that I can only wear it like in a specific type of heat. And I can't layer this year round. Like, I've been looking for people who can layer this, and I've just struggled. I've really struggled. I'm actually thinking of gifting this away, but it's insanely good. It's an insanely good fragrance, but it's not an easy blind buy. I would not say go and blind buy this, especially because there's no other fragrances that they're easily accessible, and I can't vouch for them either. And so yeah, like, it's definitely not the kind of rose and oud and patchouli that you get in the typical ones, like, you know, French Portrait or what's that one by Armani, Rose d'Arabie. Like, no. This is completely different. And the other thing is, like, it's almost pungent. And some people say this smells like bug spray, and I can totally understand. It's that oud, the type of oud they use. Hence, you need to be a heavy oud lover to even enjoy this. And I really think you would need a strong collection of ouds and roses to be able to work this. I think that's really what it needs. But this fragrance cannot be layered with anything else. Anything I've tried to layer this with myself has just ended up in disaster. You cannot, like, not that you should be doing this with other fragrances, but like, you can't wear this on a bad day, like when you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a little bit sweaty, like, let me just drown this for an hour before I get home. Like, this is not gonna be a good one, because it will literally work with your sweat. Like, it will work with any odor of any kind that you like. does not work well with layering, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, it's just very, very specific. It doesn't last. It projects like crazy, which is really, really nice. It smells expensive as hell, which is really, really good. But yeah, unfortunately, for every good thing, there's a bad thing. For age, I really think this is a much more mature fragrance. I feel like you have to be like 30 and up to really, really enjoy this. But like, if you love your ouds and you're younger, like, go do your thing, baby. I'm not even mad. Even if it is with when it comes to like gender and stuff, women can wear this, men can wear this, whoever can wear this. Like, they're actually, this is very, very unisex. I feel it's very, very unisex. You could wear it with anything. It has a citrusy vibe to it as well, which definitely comes off from the musk, which makes it really, really bright. But yeah, this is Universal Oud. Now let me know, have you tried any of the collection in these bottles here? And have you ever tried Universal Oud? And what did you think about it? And are you the wizard that knows how to layer this fragrance? Because please spill your secrets. It took me 3 years to try to figure out what to layer this with, and I have just absolutely given up on anything. Until next time, let's talk then. Bye.